Hi, this is Jim Peters with Peters Principles, and tonight we're going to have the Cawley meeting that took place with the Article 97 with the Parks Commission. With the Parks Commission last week. In the first place, I'd just like to say a couple of things. I read in the Lowell Sun this copy here that Jim Milanazzo was upset with the manager, and let me tell you something about Jim Milanazzo. I've known him for 47 years. If he's upset about something, then he's upset about something. He doesn't get upset very easily, and I've never known him to be upset about anything. So there must be some edge to it that I'm missing, because I'm for the downtown location. But I understand the people who are for the Cawley location, and I consider them all to be friends, so it's just one of those things. It seems to be a fight between two groups, those who want the Cawley location and those who want the downtown location. One of the things that we haven't talked about very much in the debate is the cost of putting sidewalks throughout Belvedere, which is going to be necessary if we have the Cawley location, because the kids can't walk in the streets. And if they put sidewalks throughout Belvedere, then they will take a portion of the owner's land and put a sidewalk across it. It's city land. They did it on my street, and they'll do it on these streets. I feel that one of the problems is there's not a lock on the location of the high school, but there will be, and we have to honor that. I myself came from a high school that had 5,000 people in it. I came to Lowell High School when I was a sophomore, so I graduated with my full class in 1972, and I had a saying that I used when I was a kid that I made up, which was, I knew all of the answers when I was 18, but now that I'm 63, I don't even know the questions. And that's kind of appropriate for this particular situation. What I'd like to do is show you three people who made a stand on different sides of the issue. First one is Manager Kevin Murphy, who spent a good amount of time talking to people about the fact that this was not necessarily for a Cawley location. This was a parks conservation issue. I feel that we're kind of the Hatfields and the McCoys in this one, because there's just so much acrimony going out and being placed on the situation. I also taped Maria Sheehy, who is an attorney, who brought up a very good point about the openness of the meeting, and I wanted you to hear her. And I also taped Mr. Finnegan, who was the lone no vote on the Parks Commission, and he was the reason that the thing didn't pass. I have to commend Mr. Finnegan, because it must have taken an awful lot of courage to vote against the rest of the board. It's not an easy thing to do. So with that being said, I'd like to start with Mr. Kevin Murphy. I'd like you to listen to what Mr. Murphy had to say, because I think it's important and it's appropriate. And just just listen to what Mr. Murphy had to say, and then we'll go on to the others.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Kevin Murphy, 63 Newberry Street, Lowell, Massachusetts. I am here before you tonight to ask you for your consideration to remove the Article 97 restrictions associated with the Cawley option for a new high school. The prepared vote is about the process for further studying all four high school options submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority. This is not a vote to endorse one option versus another option. Just over a week ago, the Lowell City Council voted unanimously, 9-0, to move forward 4 high school options. Although I am not speaking for any council member, I suspect one or more members may not endorse all 4 options. However, they do endorse the process and voted to allow it to continue with Cawley as an option. As one of the efforts to satisfy the removal of Article 97 restrictions, our landscape architects have replicated the 2 fields in question, the Martin softball field and the field hockey field. These 2 fields will be located on the existing parking surface on the Douglas Road side of Cawley Stadium. I will ensure, and I will promise you, that these 2 fields will be made of synthetic turf. In addition, I will also include funding in the future capital plan to place synthetic turf on the Cavallo soccer field. Providing synthetic surfaces on the field will increase the permitted usage, allowing the general public more opportunity to use the fields. This situation will be much more advantageous than having the existing substandard fields. In addition, I am currently seeking to acquire additional land around Cawley for field space. Also, our Department of Public Works and Parks Department are in the process of developing a number of fields at what is known as the Manning Field area off Boston Road. I would like for the first time to show the Board of Parks our future plans, which we have been working on for close to a year. And I would ask Mr. Belgard to describe for you what our plans are. We own approximately 10 acres of land behind Manning Field off Boston Road, and we are developing this plan to increase the number of athletic fields in the city. Could you please explain without that disruption?
Thank you, Mr. Manager. To the Chair. As indicated, this is a project that's been going on for over a year now, and it's something that we're actively working for over the next several weeks and over the next year to complete. And that is basically, for those of us that know the Manning Ventura sites, we're looking at putting a full-size varsity soccer field, a full-size junior varsity field, and a practice football field. These projects that are in place through the normal protocol, and the reason why our board has not seen them as of yet, is because of the fact that there's a subcommittee meeting on March 21st that would review all recommendations, ultimately pass them on to the board, to the full council, and ultimately on to the Board of Parks. So what ultimately ends up happening, we've done thousands of these, and have some of the members that did that number of years with me. The process would then go into immediate plan specifications, engineering, and surveying. Our goal is, by this time next year, you're going to be able to go out to Boston Road and basically see this in its completion. These lands right now, if you run it today, these lands right now are virgin, city-owned property. The trees, its construction looking, does not exist today. The fields in the back, the area in the back right now does not exist today. So as we talk about developing new opportunities, recreation opportunities, this one came into play. And because of the protocols that we normally follow, we feel it's prudent that we reveal this to you folks tonight. That being said, I feel confident that the land, the acreage, the total acreage of the city, which we look at the chapter, the Article 97 rules and regulations, what you're going to lose at Cawley, you're going to definitely end up picking up here at Manning, at Boston Road. Boston Road. Also, what the managers indicated, which I think is very important to the board because we struggle with permitting opportunities at Cawley Stadium, by giving us artificial services at Cawley Stadium, one being the all-purpose varsity-sized field that will be, right now it appears to be going in the parking lot at Cawley Stadium, along with anything else that the athletic director needs, softball fields, girls field hockey fields, anything he needs, he'll be able to put on that field. Because it's a turf field, it can last the test of time. More importantly, Cavallo Field. We all know, folks of us that go out to Cawley Stadium and try to permit Cawley Stadium's Cavallo Field, it's a very limited permitted field. We restrict it, we find ourselves at times closing it, resting it for months at a time, and for good reason. We're trying our best to keep Cavallo Field up to varsity standards. And by the manager directing me to put in this year's capital plan, the ways and means to make this an artificial surface changes the whole concept of how we'll be able to permit this going forward. We do now have a field that can be permitted 7 days a week, 10 months out of the year, in all weather conditions. That one piece alone is going to give us the ability to permit it threefold to what we're doing right now. One could almost argue that it would equal 2 fields, 2.5 fields out there. And the other side of this is, we are now going to get fields at Cawley Stadium up to A standard. And when you look at Cawley Stadium, our game field, when you look at Cavallo Field, our proposed synthetic soccer, all-purpose soccer lacrosse field, and you look at the field the new proposed field that we're looking at installing in this plan, we're going to actually have, I believe we're going to actually have more permitting opportunity at Cawley. We're going to have more ability to allow more people the experience of Cawley. And last but not least, I just want to say, the calls I've been getting talked about the permitting process with high school sports, the fears from non-high school residents that because permits will be tight, that they may not have the opportunity to get the Cawley experience. This is going to allow us to provide all of that and more. And it's going to provide, as I said, safe and A1 fields throughout the complex. And I think it's an exciting time for us. And when we were told that Cavallo Field would be artificial turf, I really believe that's a home run for all of us. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is the largest high school project in Massachusetts and the largest project in Lowell's history. I urge the board members to vote unanimously to lift the Article 97 restrictions, to allow the process to continue. It is paramount that healthy debate on all 4 options is equal, so as to when the decision is made on one final site, fairness will have prevailed. Thank you, and if you have any questions of myself or my staff, I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Jim Peters with Peters Principals, and I would like now to go on to Mr. Finnegan's statement that he made before he made the vote. I think it's appropriate. I think it was very telling in terms of, I knew exactly how he was going to vote by what he said. And I think it was a difficult vote for him. I commend him. He had tremendous, as I said before, he had tremendous courage. And let's listen to Mr. Finnegan.
Good evening. Welcome to the board meeting. We'll have another one in 2 weeks if you'd like to come. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things, just to, well, basically make it all straight here. I do not have an opinion as to where the high school should go. I didn't go to Lowell High. My wife didn't go to Lowell High, so we have no warm, fuzzy feelings about Lowell High. But I did send my 6 kids to Lowell High. And it never, ever did we ever feel that the education they got downtown was inferior in any way. Now, I know there's a lot of anger, frustration that this board has to make a decision tonight. We're an appointed board, and it's unfortunate that it's come to this. It's unfortunate that Article 97 was found at the last minute. I would say, looking at it positively, thank God it was found at the last minute. It wasn't found 7 months from now. I can't speak for all board members. We have a few newbies here, but I've been on the board for almost 20 years, and John's been on the board for over 30 years. And every last Wednesday of every month, we go down to DPD room, and we try to do what's best for the city and the community. We try to do our civic duty. We have never been paid. We've never been given health insurance. We just do it because we like and love the city of Lowell. How do we get to this point? Let me back up a little bit. I'm going to read off some schools and see if you figure out if you see a pattern here. We've got the Pine, the Riley, the Sullivan, the Butler, the Shaughnessy, the Merklin, the Robinson, and the McAuliffe. Through the years, all of these schools have been built on park land or open space. The city never replaced any of that space. Can you imagine the city of Boston putting a school on Boston Common? Well, we did. The city did. We put it on North Common. How did Article 97 come about? Because municipalities in the city, in the state, ran roughshod over green space and parks. Lowell's probably in the mix as far as what they've done. Our job, Board of Parks, the way I see it, is to protect the green space that's left in the city. That's it. Not about the school, it's about the green space. Thank you.
Okay, the last person I want to listen to is Maria Sheehy, who is an attorney, and she brought up the fact that girls would have to be bused to Chelmsford, or not to Chelmsford, but close to Chelmsford, in order to play softball, when they have a perfectly good softball stadium field at Cawley, which would be eaten up by the high school. Let's listen to Maria Sheehy and see what she has to say.
Hi, Maria Sheehy, 1 Adam Terrace. I want to begin by thanking the city manager and Tom Belgard for their very detailed presentations that we just heard about manning Ventura Fields. I'd like to note, however, that I really think that the rest of our community might have had an opportunity to be here to give a presentation as well. I'd like to note that to the extent that this body intends to take any formal action or vote this evening, I think it's entirely out of order. Under the open meeting law, the public has a right to be informed of the purpose of a public meeting. The list of topics to be addressed at a public meeting must be sufficiently specific to reasonably inform the public of the issues to be discussed at the meeting. The public has a right to know what you are doing here tonight. The general notice to the public about this meeting was that there would be a meeting of the Board of Parks, and the stated purpose was to discuss the Lowell High School project and the submission of the preliminary design program to the Mass School Building Authority. This notice does not even suggest that any formal action will be taken. It doesn't suggest that there'll be any action by this body to declare any property surplus. It doesn't indicate that there's going to be any vote taken. There's no mention of Manning or Ventura Fields, and I question whether the abutters to those properties would like to be here tonight. We're talking about an issue of significant impact on the city, a serious issue that is not only highly controversial, but one that potentially involves hundreds of millions of dollars of public money. As the city manager stated, this is the largest high school project in Massachusetts. We're talking about Article 97, a state law which requires a very strict process prior to releasing the recreational restrictions on this property. I think this body needs to be very careful not to take any formal action tonight or vote to the extent that the notice does not comply with the open meeting law. Regarding any proposed declaration of surplus at Cawley, I'd just like to ask this body, on what basis is it declaring this property surplus? On the basis of this presentation tonight, were there any studies taken? What factors has this been based upon? Does the square footage that's represented in that diagram that the entire community is seeing for the first time tonight, does it exactly duplicate, or at least duplicate as required by law, what we are supposed to be duplicating? We don't have the answers to those questions, and I think the rest of the public has a right to be here to hear the answers to those questions. We currently have a sports facility at Cawley Stadium where almost all Lowell High School students who participate in outdoor sports participate at the end of each day. As a woman and a mother of 2 young women who have spent the better part of both fall and spring athletic seasons over the past 7 years participating in sports at the Cawley Stadium location, I can tell you that these fields are very much needed and most definitely not surplus. It is not lost on me that it is the girls who are expected to take one for the team in this project. In any relocation of Lowell High School to Cawley Stadium, it's expected that softball and field hockey fields will be moved to Manning Ventura, and the girls at the end of the day will get on a bus and go someplace else because they're not going to have room for them on this campus that we want to create. I think it's unfair. In this day and age, are we really prepared to say that girls should only have full rights to these fields if we have extra, if we have surplus? Aside from the fact that I think this presents legal questions under Title IX which are enforceable by the Department of Ed and which the city will probably deal with in the form of private party civil litigation over the next several years, what does this say about our community? Apparently in Lowell, young women aren't as valuable as young men. I'd just like to urge this board not to take any formal action tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for watching Peter's Principles. This has been a wrap-up of the meeting that occurred on the 9th, I believe it was the 9th of March in the Parks Department. And as you know, the vote went against Cawley Stadium, and people are upset with that, and I'm not upset with that because, as I said before, I'm for the downtown location. I hope you have a good day, and I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you very much for watching Peter's Principles.